Hi, I'm Tony Bruno from 97.5 The Fanatic, and you're watching Sports Talk with Mike Yellick and Dustin the Dust Pastula.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Sports Talk. Well, welcome to Sports Talk. I hate saying that every week. Welcome to Sports Talk. I'm your host, back in the chair, Mike Yellick, alongside Dustin Pastula. We
almost called me Tony Bruno. Hey, I mean, we got the same record last week, so I guess you
have the same hairstyle as Tony Bruno.
Yeah, I let mine grow a little bit.
By the way, I just want to say, you have not seen the last of Tony Bruno on Sports Talk. I'm just going to leave it at that. So, but let's begin week number 2. What happened?
Well,
what happened?
I'll tell you what happened.
What happened in week number 2? You know what happened? First of all, let me explain this. What was that, by the way?
Get the ball rolling.
Here's what we did. Yeah, exactly. I feel like Eagles should be 2-0, but they're not 2-0.
They're not 2-0. You know what I mean? Here's what I saw. I saw an offense that wasn't as bad as the first week, but after Chip Kelly said that we could move faster, we could go faster, that's not what they did. And here's the thing. Chip, I know you like that fast-paced offense. You want that boom, 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 boom. You want to keep going. You want to keep giving it to them. You don't want to give the other team time to think. But that's exactly what you did in your first week against the Redskins. You guys won fine. You tried to speed it up even more. And when your team tried to do that, they themselves began to make mistakes. And what you cannot do is you cannot rush your ideas on this team so fast. Let them get used to it.
Here's where the turning point, I think, was. And when I saw this happen, I knew we were going to lose right away. And I did. I told people in the room, I said, we're going to lose this game because of this right here. It was 2:28 when we ran the next play. We had, clearly, it starts at 40 seconds. We had, the 2-minute warning was going to hit. When we started dropping back, when it was 2:10 left, why would you just not wait until the 2-minute warning comes?
Right.
You got 2:10 left, and then Vic gets hurt, Selleck gets hurt. They both have to come out for that play, and there's still 2:03. The 2-minute warning still didn't hit. So then Foles, and he's brutally awful. Well, I'm just telling it like it is. Foles is terrible.
He's not good.
Throws a fade route to Deshaun Jackson, not even in the end zone, and then the 2-minute warning. You wasted 2 plays, which essentially could be a minute right there in time. Probably more. A minute, at least. And you would have gave them the ball. And not giving it to LaShawn McCoy once is beyond me.
I don't understand. I don't get that. And you know what? I'm not the only one.
You're in the red zone.
I'm not the only one. You can watch Game Day. You can watch NFL Sports Daily. You can watch the crowd goes wild. You can watch anybody, and they will all agree with me that the Eagles do not use LaShawn McCoy enough. What happened against the Redskins? You saw that long break, that long run that he had. Nobody touched him. Nobody.
And to sit here and say that, well, if we would have given LaShawn McCoy the ball, well, first of all, when you have a mobile and awful quarterback like Nick Foles is, I expected LaShawn McCoy to get the ball.
Right.
Not throw a fade route to not even in the end zone. So that right there, why would you not wait until the 2-minute warning? I'm putting that on Chip Kelly. However, I'm not putting the game on Chip Kelly. The game, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, so we haven't even talked about this. Who am I putting sole responsibility for this Eagles loss on by 3 points? The kicker, Alex Henry. First of all, you miss a easy 40-yard field goal at home. That's unacceptable. He has one job, and that's kick and make kicks. That's one job. And you can't even do your job. And then you get a fumble because of bonehead play by Deshaun Jackson. You get a fumble, and it lands right in your lap, and you cannot just, look, here's what you do. Boom, like that. You can't even do that. You can't even fall on the ball. This game is solely on Alex Henry. I'm putting sole responsibility on Alex Henry. He should be cut after that. And I'm not even joking. This isn't an overreaction. Alex Henry, you bring David Akers back. I know he's on the Lions, but you know what? Bring David Akers back, please, because this guy is terrible. He's not good. You cannot miss a easy 40-yard field goal and then have a fumble come in your lap and not have that. The game is on Alex Henry. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Well,
Poor time management by Chip Kelly, but Alex Henry, sole responsibility.
I can't say that I would give sole responsibility to Alex Henry. 98% maybe, but sole responsibility.
The rest maybe on the defense.
I wouldn't give to Alex Henry. Here's why. And you just said it. There were multiple plays, and honestly, you know, we have a time limit here, so I can't just sit around and think about which plays I'm trying to think about. But there were multiple plays that gave a lot of yards to the Chargers.
Well, we can't cover tight ends.
And that didn't need to happen. Exactly. That's exactly right. That's
40
exactly
years
right.
old almost.
That's exactly
Antonio
right.
Gates, he's a good player.
I don't know. That's beside the point. Okay? You need. I understand your D-backs are improving. That's good. They're improving a little bit.
A little.
Hey.
Harry Williams got 3 defensive penalties against him for holding.
Penalties aside.
He stinks.
Penalties aside. They're not as bad as they were last year. Let's just put it that way. That's what I'm gonna say.
They're close.
From what I've seen these past 2 games, they're not as bad so far. Will
Yeah.
they prove me wrong? It's a high possibility, but they're not as bad so far.
So far.
And they would probably be made better if they didn't have to cover the wideouts, cover deep, and take the linebacker's job and cover the middle of the field.
Well, Eddie Royal's a superstar, apparently.
Why can you not guard the middle of the field? Honestly, when you look at all the possible passes a quarterback can make, the middle of the field is the smallest area to guard. As far as short passes.
But you came into this game looking at the Chargers offense, which, let's be honest, it's Phillip Rivers who's on the downswing, and Ryan Matthews, or whatever his name is, and Ryan Matthews, and their wide receiving core is depleted at that. And Malcolm Floyd looked like a superstar out there, and Eddie Royal looked like a superstar.
That's another thing that's another thing that's been bothering me. These are people whose names, like, why are we mentioning Eddie Royal? Why are we mentioning Malcolm Floyd? Why are we mentioning these people? These are unmentionable
I hate hearing they're having career days every time you play them. You know it's going to be a career days from somebody on the other team. Which, by the way, when we play the Broncos, I don't even want to watch it.
I'm not. I
feel like it may be 10.
I'll tell you something though.
Peyton Manning.
I'll tell you something though. Over the past year, preseason and these first 2 games included, honestly, I've seen hints and I've seen previews of good things. I actually, by the end of the season, might like the Eagles. Not saying they'd be my favorite team, that's impossible.
Wow.
But I actually might not hate the Eagles. But I was born into a house that despises the Eagles. I was bred to despise the Eagles, and I might not at the end of this season because they are playing well. And like I said, the defense has to step up. You're right though. You cannot. You cannot blow a field goal like that, first of all, because you're in the NFL. Anything under 45 yards should be easy.
Yeah.
It really should.
There's no wind.
It really should. It really should. Especially
perfect conditions.
Especially when you're at home. That is your field.
Do you know we have a 7-game losing streak now at home? That's the longest in the NFL.
You're at home. You should know your home field. You should know the temperature. You should know how the wind works in your stadium. You should know every statistic about your home stadium. It's your home stadium. If you miss a 40-yard field goal at San Diego, I can't hate you that much for that because that's not your field. That's different territory. But and then you're right. If a ball comes at your feet, you fall on it. You can't let another team get a fumble like that. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that he saw it coming and he just got nervous.
And you know what? I would see there's some quarterbacks in the league. I like other quarterbacks from other teams. For example, I think Josh Freeman is a good quarterback. I think he's getting a horrible deal in Tampa Bay.
And you know what?
And they took the captain away from it.
And you know what? And they were just saying that
the coach is awful.
They were just saying that on TV. You'll get a lot of people telling you that Greg Schiano is not a good coach, and a lot of people don't like him. And there have even been talks that he's the reason why Josh Freeman is not performing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. I like RG3 as a quarterback.
He's RG3.
No, I mean not as a person. I'm talking
but
about.
let's get on that because he's.
Well, hold on.
He's injured.
I want to get to my point though.
Okay.
My point was this: that there's some quarterbacks I actually do like in the NFL. Alex Smith, I think he's a good guy. Phillip Rivers is a crybaby. He cries about everything. You saw him when there was a penalty. He was like. He wants the refs to do everything for him. And you know what? And I don't know if you saw it, but there was a play where he was like, stop! You're a crybaby. Every time he loses, he's yelling. Him and Jay Cutler had that thing like a couple years ago. I can't stand Phillip Rivers. He's a crybaby, and he's never amounted to anything, and he hasn't won anything either. He had good stats. Big whoop. You suck.
Let's calm down. You have that. You can do that later. That stuff later. True. Speaking of Alex Smith, though, the Chiefs are undefeated right now. I mean, I know there's 2 games left, but
2 games left.
2 games in. I know we're 2 games in.
Week 15.
But yeah, week 15 here.
Listen.
The Chiefs are 2-0 and the Eagles are 1-1.
I have 2 words.
Is Andy Reid laughing right now?
Here, 2 words. Andy Reid. They have their total win total from last year. It's silly to say it's not Andy Reid. It is Andy Reid. They got a new quarterback because Matt Castle was probably the worst quarterback in NFL besides TT.
There are other people that are pretty bad in the NFL as well.
Well,
we can do a whole segment on that.
Right. And then they never had a bad line. They always had a good offensive line. They just had a quarterback who sucked.
They always had, you know what? So, the Chiefs always had a solid team.
Yeah, a solid team.
They have a solid team. They have players that might not be famous. You might not see them in the news day in and day out. But this is a team that works well together, but just needed the right leaders.
Yeah.
And by leaders, and the reason I use leaders in a plural form is I mean a leader off the field, as far as one that does not play every weekend, and a leader on the field, a leader out there that gets on the field with the players. Those 2 leaders are the new coach in Andy Reid and the new quarterback in Alex Smith. You have Andy Reid.
Alex and Andy are going to get it
right.
done.
You have. I mean, for those of you who watch NASCAR, you have the driver and the crew chief.
I think the Chiefs will be 3-0 after this week. Just saying.
Which, by the way, crew chief, Chiefs, Andy Reid.
Chiefs will be 3-0 after this week. I think they come in here and I think they beat the Eagles.
And you know what? That's another thing I want to see. That's another thing I want to see. I'm very, very excited.
You know he's going to try to run the ball. I'm
very, very excited about this Thursday night game because not only do I want to see Andy Reid against his old team, but I also want to see.
I know what you're going to say.
What?
What? Who's also going to be in the building?
No, I don't. None of that at all. I want to see how well this new offense under Chip Kelly can do with only 5 days of rest.
Ooh, that's true.
That's what I want to see.
You know what I was getting at, though?
No.
You know who else is going to be in the building on Thursday night? My boy, Donovan McNabb. I'm sorry, I love Donovan McNabb. And I wish they could trot him out there and he could be starting for us on Thursday night, just to see. You know, I still think he has something left. But Don McNabb is getting his number retired on Thursday night.
Very good.
So that's be a nice little ceremony there.
Speaking of retired numbers, little known fact: Peyton Manning is currently wearing a retired number on the Denver Broncos. I'm sorry, I didn't come in with the proper information, but there's a gentleman who wore that number before him, and the number was retired, and Peyton Manning came into the team and said that he would take number 16 because he didn't want to take a retired number.
Not Jake Plummer.
No. This is an older guy.
Oh, okay.
And who wore number 18.
Oh.
And
I thought you meant 16.
He actually got a call from the family saying that they would be honored if Peyton Manning would take his dad's number, and they brought it out of retirement.
See what you learn on Sports Talk?
Peyton Manning is wearing a previously retired number for the Denver Broncos.
Wow. Did not know that, people.
Here you go.
You got anything else today, or?
No, I just got another undefeated team that I didn't think would be undefeated. That's all I got.
Who?
Miami. They're undefeated, guys.
Yeah, they're undefeated.
I'm just wondering how. What do you think it is? I want to know the Mike Yelich reason.
They have
Miami's undefeated.
a good, solid team, just like the Chiefs.
Okay.
They're just like the Chiefs in that sense. They have a good quarterback. Honestly, I really do. I think Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback. He was his first year. It was the rookie year last year. And he didn't have a bad year either.
He did not have a horrible year. No. You did not have people
on that team.
making fun of him that last year.
Yeah, I mean, good receivers, and then you have a solid defense.
Very solid defense.
Very solid
Very
defense.
solid defense, yep.
So, I'm going to say it right now. Miami could and maybe, shout out to Josh, who works at Louis. He's the Louis' son. The big Dolphins fan. I think Dolphins could make the playoffs this year. I think they will.
I was just going to say that. I really think the Dolphins, I don't think they flat out make the playoffs, but I think they hit the wild card.
Oh, yeah. Well, that would be making the playoffs. So,
right.
I'm going to say that.
No, I'm just saying flat out versus.
Well, okay.
Right.
But
I don't see them winning the division. I see them.
No.
I see them.
You know what, though? I don't know. Because let's get on that real quick before we go to break. The Patriots, are they a good 2-0 team? They barely beat a Bills team that's they barely beat
the Jets.
The Jets, who are an awful team.
They are probably now they're not as bad as the Jaguars.
No.
But I mean, they are a team that is literally before our eyes falling apart.
Yes.
And they are falling apart, and they're on the fast track to nowhere, and they don't know how to put on the brakes. That's their problem right now. And I mean, how do you win? You beat the Bills by what? 1 point, and you beat
2 points.
Or 2 points. You beat the Jets by 3.
Then maybe they'll win by 4 this week.
Maybe they'll win by 4.
They'll start getting a little better.
Get better. But I think out of all the 2-0 teams, the Patriots should not be. I really think. Honestly, they were outplayed. Yeah. Unfortunately, in both of their games. The Patriots are a 2-0 team that should be 0-2.
Tom Terrific needs to get going.
They should be 0-2.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the Patriots should be 0-2. They played the first 2 games of this season like an 0-2 team.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Also, one more thing. I'm just thinking of when somebody says the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm. I always assume that's just talking about an animal because I don't even think I keep forgetting they're a
Why
pro
are they
team.
still an NFL team? They're terrible.
And
they're just so bad.
They're so bad that 20 people rallied outside the stadium to convince the owner to buy Tim Tebow. That's how bad they are, that they think Tim Tebow can solve
Wait, I hate to do it to him. But I gotta give him a... That's what I have to give him. You know? I mean, they're terrible. Come on! You know, what are you doing? Like, you want a guy who cannot play football as your quarterback? You already have that. You already have Blaine Gabbert. Why use another one? I mean, look.
And it's funny to me also because people are always... There's so many people out there saying that if Tim Tebow would be a tight end, he'd actually be a decent football player.
I'm sorry. The Jaguars are so horrible.
Refuses to be a tight end. To get off the Jaguars.
Can we not? Please. Who are their wide receivers?
I want to get off the Jaguars.
Who's their running back?
Listen, no, why don't you... Right here. Isn't it still Maurice Jones-Drew?
Oh, yeah. He's good. Running backs usually last, till they're 29, 30. He's 32, his number. And he still sucks. This guy, come on. What are you doing, Jaguars? Blaine Gabbert? He had, what was he in the first half? 2 for 10 for, 13 yards or something?
Honestly.
Oh, my God.
They might be better off with Tim Tebow, to be honest. They really might.
Why? All right. I'm done. They're just funny.
They could probably put their tight end at quarterback. And
I feel like any college team really that's decent in the Pac-10 or
Johnny Manziel, Texas A&M.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they could easily beat the Jaguars. Jaguars are terrible.
McMahon from the Alabama.
People from the XFL, that's not even in existence anymore, could probably beat the Jaguars. He hate me.
Our very own Lehigh Valley Steelers could also probably beat.
Well, that might be pushing. I
don't know.
Yeah, that might be pushing.
I don't know.
All right, when we come back, we're gonna be talking week number 3 predictions. We'll be back after this.